everybody! In this video, we'll be learning about string functions in Python. If you remember or if you recall from the last video, we discussed about some string functions in Python, and today we are going to be discussing about some more string functions in Python. So let's get started. So the agenda of my video will be understanding about the string functions in Python, but today we are going to be understanding about some different string functions that are find, index, and format. So let's get started. I'm just going to open that Python file that we have created in PyCharm. Okay, so here I've opened that Python file, python.py, inside of a window of PyCharm. So now what I'm going to simply do is I'm going to declare a name variable set to input, the input function which we have studied about in the last video. So input, enter your name, colon, space. And now let's first discuss about the index function. So the index function is used to get the position of the specified value inside of a string. So let me show you how we can use it. Okay, so we are simply going to use a print statement here, print, and we will print out hello plus name. One second, let's just print out name.index, and here you will have to pass in the value of the index that you want to find. So I'm simply going to pass in here. I'm simply going to pass in a k. So now let me just run the program here. So right click or even click the run button, click run Python, enter your name. Let's say my name is Akshat, and as you can see it returns a 1. Now what is that 1? It is a position of this k. We have this k over here, right? It is on index 1, and if you didn't know, Python starts indexing from 0. That means this a right here is going to be at index 0. Okay, and then this k is going to be at index 1. So that's why we got a 1 returned here. That's the index of k. Hope you understand that. So now it's working fine. But what if we passed in a value that was not inside of the string? Okay, for example, d. D is not inside of the string, right? Now, when I go ahead and run the program, let's take a look at what's going to happen. So I'm just going to pass in objects. Let's make that case incorrect. We get an error. So it says value error, substring not found. So if this value specified over here, in our case it's D, is not found inside of the string, then we are going to get this. So now, when we are talking about this find method, I'm just going to reference a difference between find and index. Okay. Now let's get into talking about the find method. So basically, the find method is almost similar to the index method, except for some differences that are this error, right? This error we have here, if the value that you pass into find is not found, okay, inside of the string, the substring is not found inside of the string, then it'll just return, it won't give you an error, and it's going to return the value of -1. So let's take a look. Now let's talk about the find method. So before doing that, I just want to say, reference one more point here. It may be helpful that when you're using the find method, it's more safer to use the find method than this index method. Because when you're using the find method, you just get returned with a -1 if the value, the substring is not found inside of that string. Right? You just get returned with a value of -1. But if you were using index, you should really be careful. What is the value you pass in if that's not inside of that string? If that substring is not found, then your program is gonna crash. Okay, so be really careful while using index, or else you're gonna get an error. Your program's. So now let me show you the find method. So what you can do to use the find method is you can say find instead of index, and I'm just going to for now pass in k, and then I will show you the example with d also. We are not going to get an error, will simply be returned with -1. So now let's just enter in my name. I just want to program here. We get 1. That's because the position of this k is at index 1. Now we were to give a value that does not exist inside of that, then no error. Look at what's going to happen. -1. That's because the substring is not found inside of this string. It is not the same of this index method. If you were to use the index method, you will get an error when the substring is not found. But when you're using the find method, it's this returns a -1 instead of throwing an error and crashing your program. Now let's go ahead and talk about the format method. So basically, the format method is used to format a string. So let me show you how we can do it. So instead of setting this value to name, I'm just going to set it to be this string. My name, give me just a second. Yeah, my name is, and then these curly brackets, curly braces, pass in first underscore name, and my name is that. I am age years old. I am age. Okay, that is enough. And then we'll do dot format, and here we are going to set first name. This first name that's what we're referencing here. So you can just think of it as some kind of a variable here. That variable will be actually printed here. And this first name is equal to some value. So I'm just going to, for now, set it to Octave, okay, like that. And we will have a comma, and then we will say this age, this variable age is equal to the value of 10, okay? And now right here, instead of printing out name.find, we're simply just going to print out name, okay? Now let's go ahead and run this program. So hit run. It says my name is Akshat, I'm 10. So Akshat is simply the value that we are passing in over here. Okay, and we are printing that out as a variable just for you to understand over here. Okay, and then this 10 is the value we pass in here for age, and then we print that as a variable. Okay, now I'm going to show you another way to achieve the same thing. So now I'm just going to this first name, right? This first name, I'm just going to replace that with a 0. And this age, I'm just going to replace that with a 1. So these are kind of like placeholders. So placeholders. And here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove where we say first name equals Akshat. We're simply going to pass in Akshat. And then instead of saying age is equal to 10, we're just going to say 10. So what this is going to do is in the first placeholder, that is in the 0th position, it's going to print this out. Option, okay, and the first position is going to print 10, okay, so we'll get the same output. Let's run. You won't notice any difference. It's the same output. I'm Akshat and I'm 10, right? That is it. Now the third way that we can do this, there's even one more way, so let me show that way to you. So what you have to do for that way is just leave this as an empty placeholder. Don't put 0, don't put 1, don't put any number inside of it, and even leave this as empty. So now here what we are doing is according to the order of these empty stuff, we're just printing out the values here, right? So Akshit is going to simply get printed out inside of here, and Ken is going to get printed out inside of here. So you have to follow the order, okay? Let's go ahead and hit run. Same output, right? My name is Akshit. I'm Ken. That's it. So there are three ways of how we can do this. First, by the variables, and second by placeholders, and third by empty placeholders. So now we are going to learn how we can use the 1000 formatter to format an amount. So let me show you how we can do that. So here, instead of this stuff here, I'm just going to replace that with and I just want to correct this variable. Instead of name, just set to budget. Okay, the budget is, and then we'll have this special notation here. Just mark this down. We have this curly brace followed by a a colon, and then a comma, and then you have to close that placeholder up. Okay. Let's just say over here, instead of printing out name, which does not exist anymore, we are going to print out budget. Dot format, and inside of here, just pass in some number. Okay, some random number. Okay, some big number. Okay, there we go. Now let's go ahead and run this program. And as you can see, we are separating these with the 1000 separator using a comma, which is what we want. Now we can also use this, the 1000 formatter to format amounts. There'll usually be two positions after this amount, right? .00, .93, something like that. So in order to do that, I'm just going to change this comma to a dot. Dot like that. Dot, and then we'll do 2F. Okay, now if we run the program and we were to run the program, what will it print out? It prints this number out, right? But this .00 is added. That's because we added this part over here. Now we can even add a precision to this. So not .00, it's going to be the same. So let's do like 57, for example. And let's run the program. It does 57, but there's this thing, important thing. So now, what if I was to give 3 digits here? 574, for example. If I was to do this, what do you think is going to happen? Will it print out 574? It'll just take that 4 out of there. It only considers these 2 digits. These 2 digits that I've highlighted. It doesn't take any other digit after. So just separate that. Okay? It doesn't take any digit after. So that's the concept of the 1000 separator. And with that, I hope you understood about string functions in in Python. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.